Sunday, the 7th of September 2025 at 1500. This was the date and time the government decided to test their mobile phone emergency alert system. A system designed to warn people about severe weather events or terrorist attacks by sending a signal to every 4G and 5G mobile phone. Well, I say every 4G phone. According to gov.uk, alerts only work on devices running Android 11 or later. But right underneath, it says some older versions of Android might also be able to receive them. And then there's this very vague statement underneath. Other phones that do not run iOS or Android may also receive alerts. So wait, are they saying that a Nokia 105 can receive emergency alerts? If you Google it, Gemini loudly insists that the 105 cannot receive emergency alerts, with no more useful information underneath. So that should settle it, right? Right? The 105 is incompatible. But I wasn't convinced, and since the 105 is so cheap, I went to Sainsbury's and bought one. Let's do a quick unboxing of this truly pathetic device. If you don't care for that, skip ahead to this time. First, sorry for the poor video quality. My Ixus 185 is the only camera that works with my tripod. So, according to the box, it supports 4G, which is a requirement for receiving the emergency alerts. But that doesn't mean anything if the software doesn't know how to handle those signals. Alright, let's open the box and see what's inside. We get a Vodafone SIM card. This will be useful later. We also get the phone itself, an instruction manual, which has zero mention of emergency alerts. A 1400 mAh battery, which is rather large for a device like this. And the charging cable. Hang on a moment. Hang on. That's an A to C. USB Type-C charging. The Argos listing said it had a C to C. Sneaky little liars. Hi guys, I bought my brand new vegan smartphone. Hut dirt. Hut makers of Nokia phones. Thank you for choosing Nokia 105 4G. By continuing, you accept the HMD Global privacy policy, or use of HMD Global services and applications in your devices is governed by HMD Global privacy policy, available at hmd.com. That's just privacy bollocks. Do you want parental controls? No. And there we go. Firstly, let's see if it has emergency alerts. Alright, so I decided to look through every single menu of the 105 off camera, and there is absolutely no mention of emergency alerts on this device. So that must mean the 105 is incapable of receiving emergency alerts. Right? Let's just see what happens at 3 PM. Most of you watching probably remember that the government did the exact same thing back in April of 2023, and I decided to visit Westfield and White City to film the alert, since it's a very busy shopping centre and hundreds of mobile phones would be going off at the same time. However, this time I decided to visit another busy area. an area where tens of millions of people go through every single year. That's right. London Waterloo. I pulled my SIM card out of the S23 Ultra so alerts won't interrupt recording, and then I put the SIM card into the 105. The Vodafone SIM card went into a Nokia 8, stuck on Android 9, 2 versions behind the requirement. Would either of them get the alert? Let's see. Where it is. Oh, here we go. My advisors have not gotten it yet. Oh, here we go.
The train at platform 14 is in 1505 service to Weymouth via Winchester. Calling at Clapham Junction.
Oh, here we go. So you cannot actually disable it on the Nokia 105.
Please make sure you travel in the correct part of the train. Please travel in front of 5 carriages.
That is unbelievable.
For Branson, Parson, Hall, Hamilton, Wareham, Moore, Norton, Dorchester South, Parkway and Weymouth. Remove 5 carriages.
As you can tell from the footage, both the Nokia 8 and 105 received the emergency alert with no issues whatsoever. Now I'm not surprised that the Nokia 8 received the alert, as emergency alerts have their own page in the settings app of the device. What I am surprised about, however, is the Nokia 105, as nowhere on HMD's website does it list emergency alerts, and there is no mention of emergency alerts anywhere on the device, aside from when you actually get the alert. Gemini lies to you that the device has no emergency alert, and the only way you'd be able to know prior to receiving the alert are the vague statement on the gov.uk website and this Reddit post. Now I'm actually quite disappointed with HMD, as a lot of people don't want to receive the emergency alert for various reasons. Obviously it makes sense for a serious natural disaster or terrorist attack, but this was simply just the test of the system. For example, if you're in an important meeting and you have a 105, that device is going to blast a loud tone no matter if your phone is on silent or not. Or elderly war veterans who are likely going to own the 105 and get PTSD from the alert. More importantly, domestic abuse victims might own a hidden phone. Obviously you're not going to be spending lots of money on a phone like this, and so the 105 will be a popular choice due to its accessibility. It is available in most of the major supermarket chains, and is very low priced. With no mention of emergency alerts anywhere, they could think it's safe, until the test goes off, with potentially catastrophic consequences. Now, I have 2 theories as to why HMD done this. The first is that since the 105 is the default drug dealer's mobile phone, having the emergency alert buzz means that the police will be able to hear where he's hiding. And the second is the more realistic. HMD are struggling financially. They have had to leave the US market completely due to tariffs, and there's a lack of quality control on not only the devices, like how my 105 was apparently made in the future, but even on the HMD website where there's multiple careless errors. 2 megapixel undefined. It's not far-fetched to assume the UK government probably wanted HMD to add the feature to their mobile phones, but as HMD have a limited budget, they only implemented the ability to receive the alerts and not the settings to disable them. In fact, I was told by someone who owns a slightly higher end Nokia feature phone that his phone lets you turn off the emergency alerts. And now for a complete change of topic. I've actually managed to spot a pair of 458s at Waterloo which weren't refurbished. The refurbishment of the 458s is complete, meaning that these 2 will never be refurbished and will most likely go to scrap once the Arterios are rolled out. I am quite glad these 2 have not been refurbished, as the old 458 seats were absolutely amazing. As you can see from the footage, these seats have lots and lots of padding. The refurbished 458s are quite uncomfortable. However, they are far from the worst. But something strange happened whilst I was on the train. Not only were most operators over 30 seconds late, but somehow EE managed to be over 19 minutes late. This is quite similar to what happened in 2023 when phones on the 3 network didn't receive any alerts. Anyway, that was my video on the emergency alerts. What's the moral of the story? That Nokia story that makes me sad, but instead of jumping on the Android trend, they fell and unplugged their mobile division from